Well, it's good to have you back here watching Good Morning Uganda. It is a Thursday and a peaceful one. You can add to that. Well, in our agenda this morning, we're going to talk matters cooperatives. Something that was a huge talk in town back in the time for many of the smallholder farmers, or many of our grandparents benefited a lot from the cooperatives. And the reason as to why our parents were able to go to school was because of cooperatives. That is one thing I can highly speak of. But today, our conversations rotating around building the capacity of cooperatives in the country and also the establishment of a National Cooperative Bank in Uganda. How far are we currently? And then, how is the capacity building level at for Uganda? Guess what? Who is joining me this morning? I do have Asimwe Ivan, the CEO and General Secretary of the Uganda Cooperative Alliance Limited. We are speaking cooperatives. Chirabo Robert Nyonyintono likes calling him Mr. Cooperatives. And well, it is a pleasure having him this morning. A very good morning, sir.
Good morning. Pleasure being here. Good morning, our viewers. I'm happy to be here.
Yes.
Yeah, and this is a very wonderful morning. The weather is very good. And I hope that whatever we are going to discuss will be very wonderful.
Well, indeed. It will be very wonderful, and you, our viewer, can also be part of this conversation by, sharing with us what you think should be done in the capacity building process and also what you've benefited from a cooperative. I want to believe some of you have once been under cooperatives back in the years when they are very active, and how you benefited and what can be done to make those glory days return. Speaking of building capacity, Mr. Ivan Asimwe, what does that imply and what does that mean for those who are highly interested in the cooperative talk?
Thank you so much. Once again, I'm Ivan Asimwe, General Secretary, Uganda Cooperative Alliance. Uganda Cooperative Alliance is the apex body for all registered cooperative societies in the country. And currently we have over 50,000 registered cooperatives serving over 18 million Ugandans. Majority of these people are smallholder farmers. My father, my mother, grandmother, grandfather, we seated there in rural areas.
Yes.
Raising cows, growing cotton, growing coffee, raising goats, and so forth. So these are the people we are looking at. And beyond that, we now have professionals, accountants, they have a circle. You talk of the army, Wazalendo circle, the police, Exodus circle, the lawyers, the medics. So they all now have cooperatives. However, like you have mentioned, we need to focus more on what cooperatives are and what is needed for cooperatives to perform better. The fifth principle of cooperatives, which is international, is about education, training, and information. So the framers of these principles were very careful because they knew that actually the cooperators need training, need education and information. Because not everybody in this country, moderator, understands cooperatives. Cooperatives are very unique. Yesterday I was talking to some members of parliament, and one of them told me that a cooperative is a company. And he had a very strong argument until I convinced him that actually a cooperative is not a company. A cooperative is a cooperative. And he went on to ask me that why is it that a cooperative ends up with limited, the word limited. So for them, they think that something ending up with limited implies automatically it's a company, a private limited company.
Okay. I actually thought about the same.
Do you see? So this is why we need training. So these are now policymakers. Now if at that level, because these are the people who are supposed to make laws for cooperatives, but they are making laws for something they don't know. That means that there is a lot that we need to do as a country. If we are to really understand the cooperative ideology, we need to start from the policymakers, because these are the people making laws for cooperatives.
Okay.
We need to go down and meet the masses and educate them. First of all, why do you cooperate? You hear some people are cooperating when they hear money is coming, very fast they form a cooperative. That's not a cooperative. A cooperative, there must be an ideology. There must be a need. Yes, we grow coffee together, but the challenge is marketing, value addition, or inputs. Then we come together and say, here we are, let's control our market. That is a cooperative. There is a need, and there is a common bond because you are coffee farmers. But where someone, a politician, comes and says, you know what, I'm bringing you $1 billion very fast, that's not a cooperative. That is a group of people. Now, so there is a need for that education, for people to understand. You go to the legal fraternity. I was also with a lawyer yesterday. And in fact, they came to my office to consult. Now, the issue was, there is a case in a cooperative. We have gotten a client. He's a member of the cooperative, but he has an issue. And now we are taking the matter to court. I said, look here. Cooperatives are not handled like that. Section 73 of the Cooperative Societies Act clearly stipulates how disputes are handled in cooperatives.
Okay. So
the moment you take such a dispute to court, automatically you lose. There is even a precedence. Honorable Justice Andrew Bashija made the ruling in Mbarara for Ntunga Musako versus Ahimbisibwe. The case is there for 2010. And it's very clear that whenever there is a dispute in cooperatives, you don't take the matter to court, whether it is magistrate, whether it is high court. The matter must be referred to arbitration.
Okay.
And what is the procedure? It's very clear. Me and you, I'm a member, you're a cooperative, we sit together and agree on an arbitrator. In the case we fail, you get your arbitrator, I get mine, the two arbitrators sit and get the neutral person who will be an arbitrator. In the case the two fail, then the General Secretary of Uganda Cooperative Alliance shall appoint an arbitrator. That is Section 73, subsection 5. That is now the legal fraternity. Okay. Go to the accounting profession. I'm an accountant by profession. Yes. But we don't study cooperatives. We don't have an international accounting principle on cooperatives. So you find my reporting is for a company, not for a cooperative.
Mr. Zemo, but before we go deep even into the nitty-gritties of cooperatives, as of today, I've seen many of our mothers starting up circles, women, you know, simple saving groups and all that. Looking at the, you know, the cooperatives, one would wonder, for some of us who are not currently part of cooperatives, but we've had people who benefited from the cooperatives that are still active, however small they are today. What has been the importance of cooperatives, or what is the general importance of cooperatives? Of what impact does it lay for anyone out there who needs to be in sync with what we are conversing?
Oh my God! If you are talking about the benefits, you can even sleep here.
Okay.
Before I even come here, let's just look at the developed world.
Okay.
Just go to Europe. Do you know Europeans are using cooperatives? But when they cross over here, they teach us capitalism. You go to Germany. You look at the cooperative banks of Germany. You look at the energy cooperatives. You look at the circles, the credit unions in Germany. My God. You go to Netherlands. Netherlands, the biggest cooperative is Rabobank in Netherlands. Rabobank Foundation. You look at the dairy cooperatives, Friesland Campina in the Netherlands is the largest dairy cooperative, and it's now a multinational operating in over 40 countries. This is a cooperative. You go to UK, you go to Norway, then you leave Europe, you go to Asia Pacific. Look at South Korea. South Korea is ahead because of cooperatives. They are cooperative bank. They have the largest supermarket in the capital city, Seoul. They have the cooperative bank, very big. They have insurance companies. They have factories. My God. They are Apex, which is like Uganda Cooperative Alliance. It is the National Cooperative Agricultural Federation of Korea. My God, if you have to look at it, it has over 37 companies. That is Korea. You go down, you go to Japan. you go to Malaysia, you go to Thailand, then you come this side of America, go to Brazil, see what is in Brazil, go to UK, you go to USA, you go to Canada, my God. Then you come here to Africa, look at Kenya. See what is happening in Kenya. The Kenyan economy is very huge because of cooperatives. They have the biggest cooperative bank in Africa, the Cooperative Bank of Kenya. You look at the cooperative insurance company of Kenya, the largest in Africa in terms of cooperatives. So you go to South Africa, you go to Tanzania, Kilimanjaro Cooperative Bank. So cooperatives have done a lot. Now, what do they do, especially here in the Ugandan context? You have seen the circles whereby you bring together your small savings together and keep them together in a circle. And they are very successful circles here. Are you aware that there is a circle which is bigger than a commercial bank in this country?
The Wazalendo?
The Wazalendo. It has now hit $1 trillion.
Okay.
That is a circle. You go to parliamentary circle here, just here. You go to UN circle. You go now to the rural circles, Ryamujungu circle. You go to Koboko United. You go to Moyo circle. These are very huge circles. Now, if these circles brought their money together, consolidated this money, they have the capacity to form a cooperative bank, because what is required is just 150 billion. I've told you Wazalendo's portfolio now is in $1 trillion. So Wazalendo has the capacity to form even 10 commercial banks.
Okay.
Can you imagine?
Yes.
So this is where we are heading. So now that is one. Look at loans. My friend, it may be hard for you to get a loan from a commercial bank because of the requirements, but it is easy to get a loan from a circle because this is your cooperative. So that is another thing. You go to coffee, how our smallholder farmers are able to aggregate their coffee together. 1 kilogram, 10 kilos, 100 kilos, they bring it together through a primary society. It goes to a union. An example is Ankole Coffee Producers Cooperative Union, whereby the smallholder farmers in Greater Ankole, they bring their coffee together, aggregate it, take it to the union, and the union exports it to Europe. They export over 200 containers of coffee every year. And you see the most interesting thing with the cooperatives, when they take this coffee, they first pay you. It's called the first payment, which is the farm gate price. Let's say they give you 5,000 or 6,000 depending on the price of coffee. Now, that is the first payment. When they take this coffee and they are able to make a profit, they come back and make the second payment. Now, at the end of the year, especially for those that are exporting through fair trade, there is a premium which they pay. Now that premium comes back and is distributed amongst the members. So you find as a coffee farmer, you have 3 payments: first, second, and premium. Now, if these people were not aggregating through the cooperative, ideally this money would be going to an individual. And this is what they call capitalism. Now, the individual would be very rich at the expense of very many poor people. So capitalism promotes poverty downwards and then promotes one individual at the expense of majority.
One is getting more rich.
Very good, which is very unfortunate, because it is very bad for you to be very rich and you are surrounded by poor people.
Mr.
You get a problem.
Let's talk about capacity building needs. What are the capacity building needs that the cooperatives, bank in the making is looking at, or the cooperatives in Uganda are looking at? Very good.
We have just concluded conducting a capacity needs assessment.
Okay.
And the report, just the draft, shows us a lot of gaps within these cooperatives. Gap number 1 is governance. We have challenges of governance, whereby, because in the cooperatives, we have governance structures. We have the boards, which are committees. We have the audit board. We have the vetting committees. So those 3 committees that are in place, they need capacity building. So there is that challenge of governance. You have been elected the chairman of a cooperative, but ideally you cannot define a cooperative. But you have to be a chair. You are a treasurer, but you have never started, you don't know even how to post a cash book. But you're a treasurer, so how do you want to do it? Mind you, this is a board that is presiding or supervising a manager who is a degree holder, Bachelor of Commerce. So you are a board, you're a treasurer, senior 4, but supervising a manager who is a BCom holder. So now what happens? You go to a circle, a treasurer, now you are asking for books. You know what the man will do? The man will just bring you the books and on the table. And he tells you, you know what, treasurer? I have debited this and credited this. The treasurer will be confused. He just goes home saying debit, credit. You get me? So what is needed? Building the capacities of these body members. You bring them together under one room and train them. You're a treasurer, we are not training you to become an accountant, but at least some basics. If they buy, for example, stationery, what transactions are they supposed to make? They have to debit this and credit this. They have to post in the cash book. You see money has gone out, but the stationery has come in. Just simple and basics. Then as a leader, a chairman, then you need to know what are the roles of the chairman of the board. What are the do's and the don'ts? How do you conduct meetings? What is needed? What are the records required? What are the policies required in these cooperatives? That is about governance. Now, look at record keeping. Is also a challenge. According to the report that we have got, you find in a cooperative, like now, especially like these ones which have been established of recent, you find they just pick money, put it in the pocket, and they write on a paper. Ivan Asimwe, 100,000. Jordan, 50,000. That is all. Now, in a case the paper gets lost, that is the end of the circle. So what is needed? Supporting these cooperatives to put in place records. The share capital register, the membership register, the tier sheets, the waste sheets, the day sheets, the controls, all that, to make sure that even before you go to digital, you have the manual system and you have the records there. You have the passbooks. As a member, someone who has a passbook, you can easily open and see, hey, Ivan Asimwe, today I deposited 50,000. This is my outstanding balance. I have shares worth 100,000. I have this, I have in a passbook. And then the same information appears on the savings or loan or share capital ledger card, so that the transactions are clear. If it is, let's say, a coffee cooperative, you have the records. We have been having challenges. A member brings the coffee, then tomorrow they tell him, you have never brought coffee. Why records? Now, how do we ensure that there is a register? So that when Ivan has brought 50 kilos of coffee, it is measured, it is given a value, and it is recorded in the books. And when after sale, you know how much should be paid back to Ivan. Like that. The policies, do they have policies? The human resource policy, the governance policy, the barracking policy, the savings policy, the credit policy, all those policies, are they there in place? That is what we are looking at. The other challenge we have seen is the lack of business. You find it's a cooperative, but closed. You ask them, what is the problem?
What is the problem behind it?
You know, government gave us a machine under a certain program. The machine has been here. The building is properly catered for. We just come and clean it outside. We remove the cobwebs. We close and go.
You know, there was an argument, Mr. Asimwe, sorry to cut you short, that with the emergence of the parish development model and its rollout, the chances were very high that the cooperatives would rise. Are they rising?
I may not say yes or no.
Okay.
It depends, because ideology is very critical. This is what I'm mentioning. You know, cooperatives form organically. You don't need to go and force people to form cooperatives. They grow organically. And the people must have a need. So
why they join these cooperatives?
Yes, why? And secondly, implementation is also very critical. Like what I'm mentioning here.
Yes.
Government is supposed to come out. Government needs to put in money for capacity building. Because when you have supported the people, you have talked about PDM, over 10,954 circles across the country. Who are these people on the committees? The board members, the supervisory, the vetting, then the management. Do they understand cooperatives? Do they understand records? Do they have policies? Are the leaders trained? All of that. So before I say yes or no, I need to know, are these parameters in place? If they are not, then there is a challenge. You'll be counting numbers, but not real performance. Then the other challenge is, so I was talking about business.
Yes.
You find a cooperative is set, government supported them, they have a machine and a certain program, but when you go there, the whole store and the machines, they are cleaned very well and kept. There's no business. So what do we need to do? Strategic and business planning. We need now to meet these people, ask them. You have the coffee, you know, there is a problem in Africa. Africa is not poor because we are not, because we don't have resources. Africa is a continent gifted by nature. Uganda itself is a part of Africa. So we have whatever it takes to transform this economy. But you are surrounded by resources, but you are poor. Can you imagine? You are surrounded by resources, you are sitting on gold, sitting on everything, but you are poor. You go to a country like Turkey, which is rocky, but people are very rich. Why? The brain.
Okay.
The brain. So what do we need is to make sure that let us use all the available opportunities around us and so that we can make money. You have the coffee, you have the roads, you have the coffee is doing very well, the market for coffee is there, you have the machine, you have electricity, you have everything, but you are not utilizing anything. So what do we do? Go there. This is why there is need for capacity building. You go there and sit with these people and ask why. Why are you not utilizing this facility? Train them, business and strategic management. Once they understand that, hey, we need to do business. Hey, there is money in coffee. How do we do it? Then very fast, you'll see a machine operating the next day and people are rich.
Let's look at the bigger picture now. The National Cooperative Bank. The role. What will be the roles? How are you intending to design this one? And you know, of what purpose is it likely to serve that the commercial banks are not giving the Ugandans?
Thank you so much. You know, we have to applaud government because government has done its part, though not perfectly, but at least they have done their part in ensuring that even the smallholder farmer can access credit.
Okay.
That's why, like, government created the agricultural credit finance, and this money is in the commercial banks, so that the farmers can access this money for social economic transformation. But the question is, who is getting this money? If you went on the ground, maybe from where you come from, are people getting money? Are the farmers getting this money? There is a time we went, the cooperatives and the Bank of Uganda, we moved across the country, interviewing farmers. We got shocked. Farmers are not even aware that this money is there. Commercial banks are holding this money. Maybe the smallholder, the large-scale farmers are the ones using this money. So that is one. If you are to look at the interest rates charged by these commercial banks, it is very high compared to the expected revenues. Now, another thing, if you are to get, let's say, for example, now you want to grow coffee. How long does coffee take for you to harvest? Are you a coffee farmer?
No, I'm not.
For you, a farmer here in UBC. Now, take like 3 years. I grow coffee. 3 years average. Now, if you went to a commercial bank today to borrow money to grow coffee, do you know that you are supposed to pay back the next month? This is April.
And there is a huge
end of May, you are supposed to pay back. Are you aware?
No, I
now,
wasn't aware of the,
end of May, if you are
frame.
to pay back, which money are you using to pay back?
You're going in for other loans.
Very good. So ideally, the commercial banks are not giving money for agriculture.
Okay.
Because if you gave me money for coffee growing and you expect me to start paying next month, when I'm just still preparing the garden, then that is not an agricultural loan, because I am paying back using a different source, not the intended purpose. So what we are saying ideally is that a cooperative bank is the solution to this. And it used to do it. You know how it was doing it? Previously, you know, we had a cooperative bank established in 1964 by the cooperative unions, but was closed on the 19th of May, 1999 by Bank of Uganda with certain reasons, which I explained here. Now, what it used to do, if you are a union like Banyankole Kweterana, a union would get money from the cooperative bank, and this money would be distributed to farmers as a crop finance. Are you seeing the beauty?
Yes, I'm seeing.
Now, if you are a coffee farmer,
it was a well-structured
very good.
process.
You would not need even, you know, farmers are selling gardens, not coffee, gardens.
Oh.
Now you wait, the students are coming back home. They are supposed to go back in May. You have not harvested. You don't have any source of money. What do? You go to a middleman, you negotiate and sell a garden, not coffee.
Then you're not benefiting.
Very good. Now, if you are selling a garden, then you are at the mercy of a middleman, where a middleman will tell you, I'm giving you 100,000 when your coffee is worth 1 million. But because there is no plan B, you have to accept.
Sure.
So you actually donate your coffee to a middleman because you are hungry for this money. Now, that is about school fees. You are here in the studio, they call you, your wife is in a critical condition, or your child.
That's an emergency.
And that's an emergency. You need money. You have your coffee, it's not yet mature for harvesting. What do? You rush to a money lender. A money lender gives you money at 30%.
Interesting.
Because the child is in a critical condition, there's no alternative.
And you're also rushing.
And you're also rushing, so you now use your coffee as security. Now, innocently, your coffee goes to a middleman. That is why people are becoming poorer. But for now, for the other case where there is a cooperative bank, you would not even suffer. You walk into your society and say, my chairman, my treasurer, I have an emergency. They just say, sign here. You don't need even someone to guarantee, because your coffee is coming next season. You are getting me? You just sign for the money, and then you go. Then you pay back in kind using the coffee. You see, the system was very good. And this is how it is working in other countries. So that is why we are saying, can we have a cooperative bank? And where we are currently is that we are in high gear. Because the cabinet approved, we have been pushing for this thing since 1999. Research studies have been made. And then I'm grateful with the government because cabinet of recent approved it. Said, okay, it's okay. You can move on as cooperators to start a bank. But of course, starting a bank is not like opening a kiosk. Starting a bank requires a lot of thinking. You require a lot of resources. You require a lot of studies. You require a lot of consultations. Because a bank is a giant.
Okay.
And the requirements are huge.
I do have some comments here, and I hope you will be able to respond to some.
Yes, true.
This one says, good morning, Uganda. I want to thank Mr. Ivan, or Mr. Cooperative, for his invaluable efforts he puts in place to strengthen cooperative societies in the country. Above all, building our capacities as commercial officers in Uganda. What I want to request is for him to advocate for more fundings in trade departments at the district local governments or cities with the cooperative future that looks very bright. Thanks for your strong support towards cooperatives, he says. His name is Ogwang David Cosmos, a commercial officer in ABIM, DLG. Thank you very much for your comment. And this other one says, good morning, Uganda. I thank UCA for the efforts made to ensure that people understand cooperatives and their importance in society, but they are well-established circles that have failed to fully grow and benefit their members because of the bureaucracy and very many requirements asked for before accessing funding from bodies like Microfinance Support Center. I would like to talk about how SACCOs can access funding such that they can ably grow and benefit their members. This is Samuel from Bukoma and Simbi District. We start from his.
Thank you so much. I want to thank the viewers. You see, people like cooperatives, I tell you.
And they're very attentive.
If you talk about cooperatives in this country, and I wish our planners really understood the value of cooperatives. You see the way we are struggling with taxation. If this country had very strong cooperatives, we would be donating to other countries. We would be having a tax excess.
No.
Why? Because the economy, once everybody is brought in the equation, you just look at the smallholder farmers. If you brought them together, aggregated them together in cooperatives, and the cooperatives are doing businesses, do you know that we would be collecting a lot of taxes?
Would be, because he's talking about funding.
Yes, the tax base would widen very fast. But the challenge with capitalism now is that there is an individual surrounded by 100 poor people.
Okay.
Then there is another individual. So you are taxing one individual, the other ones are all crying because they are poor.
You know, he talks about bureaucracy. This is someone from Bukoma.
Yes, I want to come to that.
You know, he says that most of the SACCOs or cooperatives are well established, but they are not benefiting the members.
I am coming to that. You go to SACCOs.
Okay.
Do you know SACCOs are paying taxes? Withholding taxes. They are paying a lot of money. With the exception of the corporation tax where they are exempted. Okay. But they are paying a lot of taxes. So if these taxes came from these cooperatives all over, you are able to now, you see like now, if you are an individual coffee farmer, getting you for tax purposes is not easy. But if you are aggregating this coffee through your cooperatives, then URA would be taxing the cooperative, meaning that every coffee farmer is contributing to the national economy. So I want to really appreciate these people who have sent in messages. The commercial officers, yes, we have sat with them, we have built their capacities. But the challenge the commercial officers have, and I want the government to listen, is that these are the foot soldiers, these are the people on the ground in districts, in cities and municipalities, doing the supervision, the auditing, the nurturing, the mentoring of these cooperatives. Unfortunately, they are not funded. Their budget is very small. You find someone without even a motorcycle. And this is a whole district. So how do you expect someone to move from one area to another area, no fuel, no motorcycle, no vehicle? Now, again, they need capacitation. You need to always train them because of dynamics. So how do you do this? So government should be putting money in this area, should be putting in money in the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Cooperatives in order, because these cooperatives, once they grow, then they are able to spur the economy. So that is it. Now, another friend of ours is talking about some SACCOs have grown up, but the members are not benefiting. This now takes us back to capacity building. You know, once members don't know their rights, then they will be exploited. This is a SACCO. Now sometimes you find a board is the one driving the SACCO, but the members who are passengers are not even aware of where the bus is going. Have you ever sat in a bus and you don't know where you are going?
But I'm inside.
And you are inside. So the driver can take you anywhere. So now these board members who are seated on the steering wheel, they are taking passengers who are the members, but the members are not aware of where they are heading.
So there is no growth.
So they exploit them. So what do you need to do? Now come and train these people, the members. Let them know their rights. Let them know their obligations. Let them understand why they are cooperating. Let them stop saying that this is a SACCO for chairman. This is a SACCO for manager. In some SACCOs, managers are like kings and queens, whereby a manager can decide to say, I'm giving a loan, I'm not giving a loan. No reason. Why? Because there is that information asymmetry. So what is needed, now the question is very good because it is really addressing why I am here, to make sure that we build the capacities along the entire value chain. We train the policymakers, we train the implementers, we train the boards, the supervisory, the vetting committees, the members, the management staff, and the general public. And this is why I'm always grateful. I always thank UBC. You know, a television that gives you the opportunity to come here and educate Ugandans on the role of cooperatives. Surely you have done
There's
a great job.
You know, there's a comment here of Ogwang David Cosmos, the one from the commercial officer
Yes.
from ABIM, who did say that he requests you to advocate for more fundings in trade departments at the district, local governments or cities, which I think even their members of parliament really need to put more effort on. He says advocating for funding at the district, local governments.
So thank you. I had already addressed that, but basically, if government is really focusing on socio-economic transformation of this country, let us put resources in the cooperatives. Let us really focus more on cooperative growth and development. It's not about putting money in parishes, in the PDM circles. No.
Okay.
Yes, you can put money there, but before you take it there, first build the capacities of these people. If you don't build their capacities, all the money will be wasted. Because if I get 1 million as a member of a circle, you have not trained me.
How to make good use of it?
Nothing. At the end of the day, I will not pay back and the circle cannot grow.
This view is taking us back to something you mentioned earlier, and with the shows that have been ongoing in regards to cooperatives and understanding cooperatives. So thanks for the program. We would like to know the reasons the Bank of Uganda gave on closing the cooperative bank. This is Reverend Kamhanda Thomas, former Deputy Prime Minister of Dingia, Bwamba Kingdom in Bundibujo. He just wants to know some of the reasons behind the closure of the cooperative
now,
bank.
moderator, one time I was here and I explained very well on why the cooperative bank was closed.
He wasn't watching.
Yes, but literally, or basically, the Bank of Uganda, the reasons it gave was that the cooperative bank was undercapitalized, and that's why it closed it. Okay. However, when you go deeper, because we made a presentation, UCA presented, we petitioned the parliament over this matter. Because when you check thoroughly, you find that in 1964, cooperatives formed the cooperative bank.
Okay.
On the 20th of November 1997, also we find that a certain company called the Cooperative Bank Limited was incorporated. Are you hearing that, moderator?
Yes, I am.
The real cooperative bank for cooperators was established in 1964. But on the 20th of November 1997, another company called the Cooperative Bank Limited was incorporated.
Bringing in the
by the Registrar of Companies. Yet the Cooperative Bank of 64 was registered in the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Cooperative.
Which was
so meaning that there were two companies.
And one was more capitalistic, the other was for the people.
I am still coming.
Okay.
When we went to Parliament before Kosase,
okay,
that was in 2019, 4th of February. So on that day, our prayers were, we had like 4, but mainly one was, we want the Bank of Uganda to clarify which company was closed. Is it the Cooperative Bank of 64 or the one of 97? Secondly, bring out the purported shareholders of this company of 1997. Shocking, the Bank of Uganda in Parliament mentions that they closed the company of 1997.
Interesting.
Very interesting. So in other words, there was a problem with the closure of the bank. Okay. But we do not want to go backwards to look for A, B, C, D. For us, cooperators and viewers, we believe we are Christians, whereby as a Christian, you know there is lamentation, revelation, and then acts. So let us stop lamenting. Let us, now that there is a revelation, government has okayed us, they understand, yes, there was a problem with the closure, Bank of Uganda was investigated, that is the role of government, I don't want to go into that, I know they handled, but let us now start acting, and this is where we are going to do consultations. Next week on Thursday and Friday, we shall be in Guru.
Okay.
We shall handle consultations. And then after we train, we are meeting all cooperators, the unions, the area cooperative enterprises, and other types and forms of cooperatives. We shall go to Guru next week. Then after Guru, we shall move to Fort Potro, and then in Mbarara for Western and the Midwest. And then from there, we shall come and go to Eastern in Mbale, and then Central here to cover Uganda area.
I've loved your choice of words, using
Yes.
acts, lamentations, symbolism of the Bible, and bringing it into the context now. Our final comment is coming in from a viewer who's saying, good morning, presenter. I'm Omar Hussein from Gayaza, Manyangwa. I'm following now about the state of cooperatives in Uganda. May I have his contacts? I'll talk to him about that, then we'll see what to do. But your parting shots as we are winding up with our discussion.
Thank you so much.
To the Ugandans?
Thank you so much. First of all, I want to thank UBC.
Pleasure
You are
is
always
ours.
there for us. Thank you, and I want cooperators to join me to appreciate UBC for this opportunity.
Okay.
Number two, I want all Ugandans to embrace the cooperative model. I am requesting government, let us work together, support cooperatives. Let us put a lot of resources in the ministry and in the cooperatives, in Uganda Cooperative Alliance, to make sure that together we transform this country. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you very much. And there you have it. We've been talking matters, cooperatives, capacity building, and furthermore looking at how prepared we are for the Cooperative Bank. We've been having Mr. Ivan Asimwe, the General Secretary of the Uganda Cooperative Alliance Limited, like Robert Chirabo likes to call him. Mr. Cooperative has been with us, and we expect him to be here for quite more of the time to give us more in regards to how we can prepare ourselves and how we can understand how the cooperatives operate, of what benefit they are to you as an individual, and why you need to belong to one. I am Joram Paul Sonko, and that has been our conversation this morning in regards to the GMU agenda. Coming up now is Ruben Pima Chibirango with the latest from the world of sports. Good morning.